Hi there, we're going to be looking at solving simultaneous equations today. I've put a pair of simultaneous equations on the whiteboard, and we're going to look at how to find both the x and the y values. So I'm going to make the assumption that you remember quite a lot of this because that's the stage we're at. If you remember, what we do is we're going to label the two equations. And we need to decide if we're going to find the x's or the y's. And we need to make either the x's or the y's the same value. By that I mean they have the same coefficient. I'm going to focus on getting the same number of x's here. That would be an easy number to choose to make would be 10 because they would both go into 10. So I times the top one by 5 and the bottom one by 2. And that will give me the following. Okay, so as you can see, we've times the top by 5, the bottom one by 2, and that's given us two new equations, which are the same as the ones above, just multiplied. Now, if I look at these, the 10x's are both the same. So if I add them together or take them away, I have to decide whether to add them together or take them away. In this case, because 10x take away 10x is 0, I'm going to subtract. 10x take away 10x is 0. 15y take away 8y is 7y. And 60 take away 46 is 14. Divide both sides by 7, y equals 2. Great. We've got the first bit. Y equals 2 is important. So I've got it y equals 2. I'm going to take this value and substitute it into one of the equations. And I think the easiest one to use will be this one, just here. So I'm going to substitute back into number 1. Okay, so rewriting equation 1, but with y equals 2. So I have 2x plus 3 times 2 equals 12. That means that 2x plus 6 equals 12. Therefore, 2x equals 6 and x equals 3. We now need just one more thing before we finish. We need to check that x equals 3, y equals 2 works in the other equation. So 5 times 3 is 15, 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times x, 5 times 3 is 15, 4 times y, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 add 15 is 23. Our answer works, so we finish by writing x equals 3, y equals 2, job's done. Okay, so another example. This time, as you can see, the two numbers have opposite signs. This one's minus, this one's plus, or the other way around if you prefer. So I'm going to go through the same process exactly. I'm going to label the first one number 1, the second one number 2, decide how I'm going to make them the same. I reckon that the easiest thing to do is get the x's the same. So that's fine. I could equally make the y's the same. That will give me the same answer in the end. But my plan currently is to make the x's the same and to see how we go. Easy enough to do that because then I can have number 1 times by 2 and number 2 times by 9. So let me write those out. So I've written out the two equations again, but this time having multiplied through. 2 times 1, so 2 times 9 gives me 18x, and 2 times 8y gives me 16y, and then 2 times 17 gives me 34, and also timesing the second equation by 9, 2x times 9 is 18x, minus 6y times 9 is minus 54y, and minus 4 times 9 is minus 36. Again, I'm going to subtract because 18x and 18x, if I take them away, they will cancel out. So I've got 16y minus 54. which is plus 70. Minus a minus gives us a plus. And I've got 34 minus 36, which is also 70. That gives us y equals 1. Going to substitute that back into the first equation. So sub into equation 1, and that gives me 9 times x, so 9x plus 8 times 1 equals 17. 9 times, right, so that means that 9x equals 9 and x equals 1. Therefore, x equals 1, y equals 1. We should check that works for the other one. 2 times 1 minus 6 times 1 is minus 4. Yes, that works. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same example again, but this time focusing on making the y's the same. So this time I'm going to make the y's the same. That means that I have to find a common multiple of 6 and 8. I think 24. I could have gone for 48 because 6 times 8 is 48, but a simpler multiple would be easier. So in order to get that, I'm going to do the top number times 3, 3 times 1, and I'm going to do 4 times the bottom. Okay, so that gives me 3 times 9 is 27x, 3 times 8 is 24y, equals 3 times 17, 51. For the next line, 2 times 4, 2x times 4 is 8x, minus 24y equals 4 times minus 4 is minus 16. Now this time we've got to add them together, because if I add 24y to minus 24y, it cancels out and gives me the solution I'm looking for. I.e., I'm trying to get rid of one of the letters. I don't want both x's and y's. It's hard to work with. I'm trying to eliminate one of the letters from my equation. So now 27x, add 8x, that comes to 35x. 24y plus minus 24y cancels out. And 51 minus 16, add minus 16, is 35. So x equals 1, same as it did in the last one. Some of you may have noticed a sneaky adding of a 1 there. It's sometimes possible to make errors. Do be careful and check your work as you go along. Now we need to sub this in to check that it's still correct. So I'm going to sub into, why not, equation 1. That gives me 9 times 1 plus 8y equals 17. So 9 add 8y equals 17. So we can see that y equals 1. We check it on the other one and we get the solution. X equals 1, y equals 1. Well done us. Okay, that's the end of me talking through this. If you have any problems, email me or contact me in Teams.